And now to our first business story. Former Minister of Finance Seth Terkper has downplayed any negative investor response to planned renegotiation of the IMF program by the incoming administration. There are fears that the economy could be hit hard if the NDC government goes ahead with this move. But Seth Terkper disagrees.
Speech on this, he did indicate that he would seek some enhancements. Of the IMF program. And so I do not want us to look at renegotiation being in the context of, repudiation of terms or of restarting, things that, have been firmly agreed upon. After all, the IMF program was based on poor performance of the economy, the West, in our history. And therefore, what the president sought, to portray, which he has said several times, that there are certain indicators which he would want, to enhance. There are other indicators for which, he would conduct a national, forum. And after which, obviously, he would have the mandate, a clear mandate. And so the renegotiation is in terms of making the program more attractive and making it, therefore, targeting it to meet the needs, the people. If I may give you one example, if we have, beyond,
Now, moving on, President-elect John Mahama has stressed the need to stabilize the economy, strengthen the cedi, and bring down inflation. This, he says, will ease the financial burden on Ghanaians. Speaking during a courtesy call from the Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Tom Defa, he said Ghana needs to work even closer with its partners, including China. He said once the transition is completed, Ghana will begin engaging with China on technical cooperation issues and how the country can continue to benefit from the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Disbursement and the Belt and Road Initiative.
Ghana's relationship with China is historical because Ghana was the first sub-Saharan African country to establish diplomatic relations with China. And that was during the period of our first president, President Nkrumah. Afterwards, there were coup d'etats and there was a slight dip in terms of our relationship. But in the last decades, we've had a very wonderful cooperation with China, and we hope to continue to keep that up. I myself met with President Xi. When he was vice president, I was also vice president. And he invited me twice to China when he was vice president. And then again, we met in South Africa during the FOCAC. And that was before I left office. Since then, this government has continued that relationship. We know the cooperation with Sino Hydro on the various projects that were being implemented across the country. Unfortunately, the debt default has affected Ghana's credit rating in terms of our economy. And so we're looking to focus and bring Ghana back up in terms of economic growth, in terms of stabilizing the currency, in terms of bringing down inflation. And this is the time Ghana needs to work even closer with its partners, including China. And so as early as possible, once we get the transition out of the way, it is our hope that we'll be able to constitute a delegation to begin engaging with China on the issues of our technical cooperation and how Ghana can continue to benefit from the FOCAC disbursement and also from the Belt and Road Initiative. Ghana has always upheld the One China policy, and you can inform Mr. President that our new administration continues to believe in the One China policy, and that on all the foreign relations issues that we've worked on, we have had a spirit of consultation, and that will continue to consult so that we can have a common position going forward on global issues. And so thank him again very much for the congratulations. I appreciate it.
And I'm so thinking, Mr. President, how you mind your first official visit? Come to your mind. Our office is always here, and we are ready to work with your team.
We don't mind. We'll engage as quickly as possible. Because as you said, China is one of our most important partners in terms of investment and trade. And so it will only be natural that if we pay a visit, it will be to China to try and stabilize our relationship.
Great. Thank you so much.
Now, the manager of macroeconomic research, GCB Bank PLC, Carrot Booty, has urged President-elect John Mahama to work at winning back market confidence to get the support of investors to reset the economy. He believes transparency, trust, and anchoring market sentiment will be the drivers to reset the economy back on a strong and sound footing.
Start with winning back market confidence, because if you look at this year, 2024, not that reserves are recovered to levels that are pre-COVID. No, we are not there. And I think we are quite a distance from there. But then if you see the reserve levels compared to 2023, compared to 2022, things are much stronger this year. We may talk about relative stability this year, but the CD has lost nearly 5 CD already to $1 this year. I don't think that is stability in my view. And a lot of it is sentiment, right? Sentiment around the election, sentiment around will there be around 2 of debt restructuring, sentiment around will government be able to come good on the payments after they are done restructuring and all that. So we need to carry the market along. Anchor sentiment through the communications, the policies we churn out. The very first budget of this new government should be one that communicates responsibility, not one that goes into the overdrive of achieving political party manifesto promises without really recourse for what impact it will have on the fiscal sustainability. If the first budget resonates with the market and we see some commitment to fiscal consolidation in there, which is the biggest bane, and then we would have been making a first necessary step.
The OFAB Africa Media Awards has celebrated outstanding journalism in science and agricultural biotechnology, recognizing journalists from 10 countries, including Ghana, Kenya, and Uganda. Speaking at the event, the director of the Biotech, Nuclear and Agricultural Research Institute, Kenneth Danso, emphasized the need for increased government investment in research and development. The OFAB Africa Media Awards celebrates outstanding journalism that highlights best practices in science reporting with a particular focus on agricultural biotechnology. Speaking to Joy Business, the Director of Biotechnology, Nuclear and Agricultural Research Institute, Kenneth Danso, emphasized the critical need for increased government investment in research and development.
I think it's time for our government actually to support research and development, especially technology in our economic development. In fact, without technology, we will be far behind time. And looking at climate change, events that are taking place, it means that there should be a smart way of developing plans to overcome this challenge.
The General Secretary of the Ghana Journalists Association, Kofi Yeboah, also expressed optimism about improving the dissemination of agricultural information.
Agric is everything as far as our sustenance is concerned. So if journalists or media practitioners are discharging a role to promote agric, it's a good thing. And if we are doing so in the area of GMOs, given the challenges we are having with climate change and food insecurity.
Some award-winning journalists shared their experience and inspiration behind their work with Joy Business.
This particular story I did about cowpea, over the years, the prices of cowpea in the various markets has been rising. So this gave me, an idea of why, the very reason why the prices keep shooting up. So
to go to the village, moving from your office to another region, Musuta in the Volta region, about farmers, what they are going through, and the solution.
This year, journalists from 10 OFAP chapters, including Ghana, Kenya, and Uganda, were recognized for their effort in promoting innovation and public awareness in agriculture and biotechnology. Moving on, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has expressed worry about the continuous dominance of foreigners in the country's retail space. According to GUTA, these foreign companies have taken advantage of the absence of the retention policy to repatriate their profits, thereby shortchanging the country in foreign earnings.
The retail space has already been overtaken by these foreigners. Look at China Mall alone, Chinatown, the EU, and all this. They've taken a chunk of our market share. These companies that I mentioned have taken over 40% of our market share. What is left for the indigents? And so it's very important that we also think about this. And this, I believe, the president going touring the nation heard all this from the retailers, and so it's very important that we use the investment law to deal with this problem. I believe that the problem with the exchange rate and all that, the great majority depends on the over dominance of our economy by these foreigners. All the good juicy areas of our economy is being dominated by these foreigners, and we don't have any retention policy to make sure that whatever we get, we retain some. And so we get it, and it all go outside the shores of our country. And that's why we had balance of trade surplus and all that, but it did not reflect into the strength of the city, because the money will go and then we will not get the returns back home. Likewise, these foreigners will come, bring all these goods and just change their profits into a foreign exchange and then repatriate all of them, so that we use the investment law. We are not going to do anything that is unlawful. That the investment law is there to drive investors to its preferred area. If we are using the investment law to drive investors to its preferred area, the preferred area is not trading, retailing. The preferred area is manufacturing. The preferred area is highly technological areas of the economy. The preferred area are agriculture, mechanized agriculture. That's where we have to drive investors to. But then we don't make our laws so loose that whilst you are telling the locals to go into manufacturing, and then we are being encouraged that we want to do import substitution, then we are bringing foreigners into the retail space. And what then did you achieve? And to derail the efforts that we are making to move or migrate into manufacturing, then we are encouraging foreigners who are big, who are bringing huge quantities of goods from outside to come and dump into your country and all that. This is not acceptable. We have to revisit the investment law and do what is needful. We have to do the right thing. We have to use the investment law to drive investors to more preferred area. And then we also have to, the foreign direct investors that we so seek, we do not also do in manner that we open the doors so that they just come, take everything and then go wholly with everything without leaving anything here.
Now, the chairman of Group Indom, Dr. Pakwesi Indom, is optimistic about the incoming administration restoring the license of GN Bank. President-elect John Mahama promised to review that regulatory action when he gets the mandate, following a petition from the chairman of Group Indom. Speaking to Joy Business after a 9 lessons and carols night of Coconut Grove Hotel. Dr. Indom has also been talking about the state of the economy and recent growth estimates.
I've said it everywhere. It's not hopeful. I am confident that GN Bank will come back. The economy, when we feel it, we will know that it's back on its feet. Right now, we're not there. We're not there. Words won't do it. It is how we feel, how our pockets feel, how businesses feel. That's what's going to be there. So it's good for people to be optimistic. No question. I don't have any problem about that. But the reality, when it hits, Ghanaians will know. I don't think my expectation is any different from any Ghanaian. Everybody wants a better life. Everybody wants Ghana to live up to its, if you will, the reputation that was created, in 1957, and every time it comes up. When I was a minister, I had no problems whatsoever going anywhere to look for money for Ghana. None. The reputation has been there. We just haven't lived up to it. So now a new group has come. They must listen. They must listen when our people talk. They must listen to business people. They must listen to those in all the different sectors, particularly the financial sector. If they do, life will go and the business will go and they will do well. If they don't, well, there'll be problems.
Development Bank Ghana says it is poised to leverage digitalization to expand its mandate by providing long-term capital to the market to foster strong partnerships to finance economic growth and build capacity for SMEs. CEO of DBG, Kwame Naduka, stated that from next year, the bank will deepen its ambitions and targets while implementing environmental, social, and governance strategies aimed at creating shared value and impact with purpose.
DBG is becoming an increasingly important institution in the development and transformation of our economy. But to do that, we have to work in trustful relationships with our partner financial institutions, the banks, both universal and regional, and also SNLs, etc. So what's next for us? Right? Clearly, we need to do more. It's as simple as that. We act as a catalyst, but there's so many areas, including this, that we spoke about today, that we really need to start making an impact. So over the next few years, you're going to see more targeted in terms of particular sectors of the industry. You're going to see a much bigger focus in terms of women-led businesses, as we mentioned, or women-owned businesses. We're going to do more in that respect. And we're also going to build scale. And for that, technology is a huge part of what we're doing at the moment. And there's several initiatives that you've already seen that we've started. Our relationship with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the Bank of Ghana, in terms of the Ghana, the GIFI, which is basically trying to move a lot of what we're doing manually and bring on our clients or our SMEs and bring them on in terms of scale, right? So that's our big push. How can we scale what we're doing? And quite a few initiatives that have begun. And once we get them going, because remember, we're a catalyst. Once we get them going, then we invite friends and family to join us.
Now, the Ghana Institution of Engineering has inducted 60 members into the class of professional engineers at this year's 44th induction ceremony held at the Engineer Center. President for the institution, Engineer Kwabena Bempom, urged the new engineers to continually seek opportunities to upgrade their skills. He spoke at the 43rd induction ceremony in Accra.
The inductees consist of 11 chemical and mining engineers, 29 civil engineers, 8 electrical and electronic engineers, 11 agricultural, marine and mechanical engineers, and 1 professional engineering technologist. President of the institution, Engineer Kobina Bimpon, urged the new inductees to enhance their skills through continuous improvement and best practices.
One of the things that has always bedeviled us is the question that engineers, and for that matter, the citizens of this country ask, that what can the institution that I belong to, or what can my country do for me? And I was telling them that it is important to realize that it is we who form the institution. The institution does not belong to one person. It belongs to all of us. In the same way, the country belongs to all of us. And it is for we who are citizens or members of that institution who would have to put in the work to be able to realize the vision and the mission of the institution. Now, I ask questions that why did you in the first place decide to study engineering? Because so far as I'm concerned, engineering is a calling, and we are called for a specific purpose. Some may have come in with varied reasons or varied motivations, and the question I was asking was that, is it just for you to show off that you are an engineer? Is it because you think that you are good in science and mathematics, that is why you have decided to pursue a course in engineering and to practice engineering? Or it is for you to have financial freedom?
The Ghana Institution of Engineering called on its members to contribute to the engineering profession through active engagement.
Ghana is on a gradual path to self-sufficiency in rice production, but the quality of the local staple cannot be compromised. There is now a critical need to enhance local rice supplies with requisite post-harvest standard techniques to meet international standards. For food chain this week, Emmanuel Bright Kweku engages actors along the value chain on ways to improve the local rice variety as the country is set to be self-sufficient.
On Efia Sewa's menu for her eatery today, she will be serving her customers with wachi, a local meal prepared from rice and beans. Typical of most food vendors and households in Ghana, she cooks the dish with a foreign long-grain rice other than the local Ghanaian rice variety.
Local rice, Ghana boom, minya kwenye, na brofomono so we taste it in local rice. Odi ya emaniye kama. Nyana mempe.
Her customers, like many other Ghanaians, prefer the foreign rice variety to the local rice.
The one they call it asansimu, so yeah, that one there are stones in it. So you don't wash it well. I don't feel like I'm eating rice when I eat the local rice.
Stones, chaff, and unpolished nature of the locally produced rice have over the years shied lovers in Ghana from patronage. The post-harvest processes the local crop is subjected to before packaging onto the market are bereft of high-quality rice standard protocols.
Tabo, ubon tabo na no dia tuta polina so na wachwa amono tenten na oburugum nte oburu wia na wapia ano aguba bia hata na wasan twebiem nte sa no wonye fide no wonye ne kakra woyen bebre wo ho ba kire wontimi mboro basai wo wie na wa husa wa hata mana wo tapolina so tapolina tete de ya wosesa abo babam.
Rice is a major carbohydrate source for many households in Ghana, used for various local delicacies. It is the second most important staple after maize. Available data suggests that the country consumes approximately 1.5 million metric tons of rice annually, but only a third of it is produced locally. Although domestic rice production in Ghana has seen a growth rate of about 9% from the early 70s to 2022, approximately 50% of rice demands are met through imports. The Bakwai municipality in the Ashanti region is one of the rice baskets of the country. In 2023, the agrarian town produced 1,900 tons of rice. The farmers are pushing beyond their limits to produce the local rice.
Where 1, 2, 3 na odimuno agum kakra ketenkete sa nti wi age se onya daage etna ho hwe sane enoma embedi.
Farmers don't have the right drying facilities. That's also another problem. So they dry it on the mat on the floor or some on tarpaulin, and you invite pest infestation, you invite rodent infestation. Sometimes when it's raining, they are not really able to cover it well, and you do have rains beating this rice again and increasing the moisture content, then that will cause the proliferation of yeast and molds, and the molds will now cause the famous aflatoxins or the mycotoxins, of which we are trying to fight.
That's all for business here on Prime Business. My name is Winston Taki. Coming up is Prime Sports. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.